What do you think? He'll hear it in the back, it'll come out. 1, 2, 3, Excelsior! Please welcome Stan Lee! How are you? We can get you right here, sir.
Is it on? I heard that magic word. Well, Dorothy, it looks like you're not in Kansas anymore. Hey, good to see you all. It's been a pleasure, and I hope I see you again next year.
Stan Lee, ladies and gentlemen.
I just got off the damn plane. I didn't know I'd have to come and make a speech. Well, I'm not going to make a speech. What are we going to do? Answer questions?
We're gonna do some questions. Yeah, so we're gonna open the floor
All
to
right.
questions. There's Michelle.
And you better make your questions easy. It's been a tough day, and I'm not that good at answering, and we haven't even been formally introduced. Now, I got to tell you a funny thing about that. I am not the kind of guy who does research, and I'm not a wizard at science. So when I wanted the Fantastic Four to get their power, I figured I'd have them blasted by cosmic rays. I wouldn't know a cosmic ray if I saw one, but it sounded good. You know, they were whacked by a cosmic ray. Then I needed something that Bruce Banner would turn him into the Hulk. So I figured I already used a cosmic ray, I'll use a gamma ray. I don't know the difference between a cosmic ray and a gamma ray. I don't know what either of them do or what they look like, but he was a gamma ray. With Spiderman, I had run out of rays. So I figured I'll go to the insect kingdom. And with the X-Men, I couldn't think of what the hell to do, so I took the cowardly way out, and I said they were born that way. So that's really the extent of my scientific knowledge, although I'm happy to take credit for whatever comes of that. Thank you, culture lovers.
What gave you the inspiration to create Spiderman?
Oh boy, greed. I don't know. I don't know how much of an inspiration it was. I was sitting around looking for a new superhero, and I couldn't. You know, the whole thing you need when you come up with a new superhero is you got to figure out what power will you give him. So we already had a guy who could burst into flame and fly. We had somebody who was the strongest guy, on and on. I thought, what's left? And you know, I've told this story to people so often that for all I know, it might even be true. But I was looking around and I saw a fly on the wall. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be a great idea to get a guy who could walk on walls? So that was it. But then I needed a name. So I figured I'll call him Insect Man, but that didn't sound dramatic. Mosquito Man, that didn't have it. And I went down the list and suddenly I said, Spiderman. Oh man, you can't beat that. And so a legend was born.
And hey, happy 50th anniversary to that legend.
That's right, happy 50th, Spidey.
Michelle is at the back, there we go. Hello, fellow with the hat.
Hello, my name is John. I have 2 quick questions. How fun is it playing those small characters in all your Marvel movies?
All my Marvel movies, I heard. How fun is it to do the cameos? Oh, I love them. I love doing them. You know, I tell you the funniest thing. Somebody wrote about me in some magazine, and I guess for the people who didn't know who I was, they wrote what I am and what I do at the top, and they said, Stan Lee, actor, writer, comic book, but they said actor first, so all of a sudden I'm an actor. So you better, pay attention and give me the respect that is due me. And if you all are as friendly as you seem to be, because I think a lot of you are just putting it on, but if you are, I want you all to write to the Academy, the Motion Picture Academy, and tell them that it's shameful that they don't have an award for the best cameo of the year. Now, don't let me down.
What do you think? Would all of you give Stan Lee an Oscar? Yeah. Another question from the floor.
Over here, Teddy, over here, over here.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Why do they say from the floor? It's from the audience. The floor doesn't talk. People should really watch their language.
I apologize.
Another question from a young lady or a young gentleman. That's the way it is.
The gentleman there.
So, looking back on your legacy of comics, is there anything that you would change about any characters you've created?
Is there anything that you would change about any of the characters that you've created?
You know, honestly, I don't think I would. I did them the way I wanted them to be, and they came out the way I wanted them to be, so I have no reason to want to change them. Now, I will admit, when other writers take over the series, they like to put their own imprimatur on the stories, and they'll usually make a lot of changes, but that's okay with me. They have every right to do that. But as far as I'm concerned, I did them the way I did them. I think they were truly works of genius, and I wouldn't want to change them.
Is it?
You got to forgive my modest and humble attitude, but it's just the way I am.
Is it possible to pick a favorite?
No. I am not a guy who has favorites. I love them all. You know, like some people say, what's your favorite book or movie or music? I love so many of them. I don't know how you can have a favorite. And actually, my favorite comic book hero was whichever one I was writing at the moment, because that's the one I was concentrating on.
Yeah. There we go. From the young gentleman.
Hi, my name is Wyatt. How old were you when you first started sketching superheroes?
How old were you when you first started sketching superheroes?
When I started writing superheroes, how old was I? I was about 17 or 18. It all happened accidentally. I applied for a job at a publishing company. I didn't even know that they published comics. They published men's books, movie books, confession books, sports story books, and they had a line of comics. And I heard that they had an opening for an assistant. So I had just graduated high school. I was about 16 and a half or 17. And I applied for the job. I must have been the only one who applied because they hired me. And I found out that they needed the assistant in the comic book department. But it was a job, and I needed the job. And Joe Simon and Jack Kirby were there, and they were doing Captain America at the time. And my job was to run down and get them sandwiches for lunch, or erase the pages, or fill their inkwells. They used ink in those days. And that was how I got into the business. And then one day, not long after that, Joe and Jack left. I never found out why. There's something happened with them and the publisher, and they left. So the publisher, whose name was Martin said to me, Stan, do you think you could run things till I get a grown-up to fill in the job? Well, when you're 17 years old, what do you know? I said, sure, I can do it. And he must have forgotten about me, because I've been there ever since, and that's the whole story.
When did you really fall in love with superheroes? And
I never fell in love with superheroes. I'm not gay. No, I enjoyed writing them, but I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed writing everything. I did Western stories, I did horror stories, crime stories, teenage stories, romance. Oh, I'll tell you a funny thing about the romance books. We did a lot of romance books way before your time. They were called My Confession, Her Confession, Girls' Confessions, Ladies' Confession, stupid names. Everything had confession in it. They were supposed to be the confessions of girls about their romantic problems and events. I was writing most of the stories, and I love putting my name on everything I write, but I couldn't say, this is Mary Smith's Confession by Stan Lee. Mary Smith would have to write it, but I wanted my name on, so I got a great idea to show you how brilliant I am. I wrote Mary Smith's Confession as told to Stan Lee. Well, you should see the mail I got from girls. I don't believe it. Why would Mary Smith tell a personal thing like that to Stanley? They were all indignant, but I didn't care. The book sold and my name was on it.
Scandalous. Hello.
Why did you decide to make the Ultima series?
It was a challenge. Some of the people in Japan were sort of fans, and they asked if I would come up with a story idea that they could take and write and draw and make a book series out of it. So I came along with Ultimo and I gave it to them, and they did it. From then on, I did not do the Ultimo stories. I just gave them the idea for what it should be. And I think they're still publishing them. Somebody must be reading them. I can't understand them. I don't know.
Hello, sir. Hi there, Tony Stark. Did you say you're Tony Stark? It's a question from Tony Stark. Yeah.
This question is for Tony Stark or from Tony? From Tony Stark. Oh, I better pay attention.
I just wanted to know if you had anything to say to people trying to get into the comic business. What would your advice be?
Is everybody whispering or have I gone stone deaf?
The mics are a little weak. What would your advice be for somebody trying to break into the comic industry?
You know, that is the toughest question I could get. We could be here all night, and I wouldn't know what to tell you. If you want to be a comic book writer, it's incredibly difficult unless you're already a professional writer, because so many people want to write the comics now because they figure if I write a story and they make it into a movie, I'll make a lot of money. So you have people who wouldn't consider writing for comics years ago, people who are novelists, who are screenwriters, who are television writers, and the top comic book writers, they're all writing the stories. So it is so difficult for a newcomer to break in unless that newcomer already has credits as a good writer in some other field. If you're an artist, it's easier, but it's tough. It's tough because you have to be at least as good as the good artists at Marvel. Because if you're not as good as they are, what do they need you for? They've already got the artists. So you have to show them art samples that'll knock their eye out. Oh man, I never saw anything like this. What a great style. But if it's just nice artwork, that's not enough. So it really is not easy to break into the comic book business, but yet there are a lot of great new artists coming along. I see them all the time in the Marvel books. So if you're one of those great new ones, be sure you bring your stuff up there. If you're a writer, I don't want to discourage you. I just want to let you know it's really difficult, and it's easier if you can make a little reputation writing other stuff. If you could have a story printed somewhere in a magazine or sell some sort of a television play or something. So then the editors at least know you're a professional and they'll read what you submit. Otherwise, they generally don't even have time.
Good advice. Good, Tony Stark? Awesome. The young lady there. Hello.
Hi. My name's Pam, and I was wondering if you plan on making a movie, Deadpool, and if it will be related to the X-Men series.